From the Nail came out with this gorgeous new Onere glitter collection, and I just couldn't wait to try out a beautiful aura style design with them and some matching syrup colors. These colors were screaming spring and summer to me, so I gave myself the challenge of using these bright and delicate pastel glitters to create a dark and sultry fall look. I'm so excited to show you how super quick and simple this awe-inspiring look is to pull off, and I'm thrilled with Sweetie for sending me this set to show it to you. Each of these colors are reflective and flashy and absolutely stunning. So jumping right into things, I am working on a set of press-ons and I have filed them all beautifully. And of course, we are going to prep and prime them as well. Now that my tips are all ready to go, I'm simply going in with one coat of syrup gel for each color. And most of my syrups here that I'm using are from the Nail out of the Maple collection. Few years ago. I've also got one from the Winery collection I'll be using. And lastly, I've got this beautiful gray from Fiote's Lobe collection. And it's kind of tough to come across grays for syrup gels, I've found. You can find stuff that has like tints to it, like this is kind of grayish with a teal kind of tint, or grayish with blue tints. But a pure gray has been a little less common to collections that I've noticed. So my goal here in doing these undercoats for the glitter is not only to help the glitter pop a bit because they're rather sheer when they come out, but it also helps deepen these colors a little bit because I'm working with some very bright pastel-y glitters that don't exactly scream fall colors. Not really at all for me. So by going in with some really deep, moody fall tones, I am going to completely reinvent these colors or drastically change the color profile kind of thing to go from looking super spring, summery pastel to something dark and sultry. And that's simply because it's that time of year. Yeah, I could certainly do something bright and fun, but it's dark outside. It's rainy. It's moody. I'm not feeling the happy summer fun vibes. And there's probably lots of you out there who aren't feeling that either. So our base layer is cured. Now we're going to go in with our beautiful sparkly glitters. And I will say, I find myself very guilty of not reaching enough for my glitters. I have so many. I'm absolutely obsessed with pretty glitters, especially like Aurora Queen and stuff. They do so many gorgeous glitter designs, but I do find myself not reaching enough for them and not really getting enough use out of my glitters for sure. I just never think to grab them, especially for like main design work. Sometimes I'll pop them on as like a topper or a highlight somewhere, but I do find I struggle to just focus on the glitter when making a design, which really sucks because they're one of my favorite things along with magnet gels. They're just so pretty. And I'm really into glitter dust, like all that sparkly bling. How many glitters do you have in your collection that you don't use, that you're not picking up and playing with enough? So however many coats you want to do for this is up to you. I'd go for at least 2, but possibly even 3 if you really want to build that flash glitter up intensely. But knowing me, 3 could really be overkill. I tend to do a lot of overkill. I have a hard time knowing when to quit, when enough is enough. Oh, this silver is just beautiful. So these have been cured and I'm going in with my second coat. Let me know in the comments, am I the only one that struggles to use like a seasonal set out of season? Like this was not an easy concept for me, taking something that I saw as very springy, summery look for these glitters and using them in a fall, moody style design. I wish I was a lot more versatile with that, but not really the case. And 2, I think that because I'm really lucky that I have a lot of options to choose from, that I get kind of lazy in that department where why am I taking a light, bright spring summer palette to turn into something dark and fall themed when I probably have something in that type of tone. But it's always really good to challenge yourself to use things in a way that you weren't expecting to, or that you wouldn't typically. Because I found that even though this wasn't exactly a difficult level design as far as technique or nail art or anything else like that, for me the challenge was figuring out shifting summer colors into a fall palette. I'm going to cure that again. And at this point, would you go in with a third coat? Well, you know me, of course I'm going to. Why? I don't know. Glitter is great, but more glitter is even better. Can you ever have too much glitter? Do you guys think this makes a difference? Like, is this all in my head? Is an extra coat really going to bring that glitter factor anywhere that it wasn't already? Or am I just always wasting time? Because that's kind of what I feel like sometimes. That little voice in my head just tells me more. One more coat. One more coat's gonna be all the difference. But that little voice is often very wrong and is just really a huge time waster. I don't even know where it really came from. Well, other than my neurospiciness, but what do you think? Did that third coat make all the difference? Yeah, probably not. So here we have the only stage that's going to require any kind of technique, and it's still really simple. We're just outlining in the nail. So using our original syrup base color, and then ombre brush if you've got it. If you don't, you can always just use an application brush or whatever works for you. And we're just simply feathering out that outline. So basically like a reverse aura nail is the thought. Because with an aura, you typically put down your base and then dab in your center. And we're kind of doing it the other way around. You don't want to go too far in because you want all that beautiful sparkle, but you do want to dull out some of it on the edges there to blend it out nicely. And just for kind of consistency, you just want to kind of take a look and see where your shiny, glittery line is, and then try and just keep your shape a little bit so it's not too uneven. Really not that big a deal though. This one's a little tough for me simply because no matter what I'm doing, I kind of always see it as not uniform. And so I struggle with trying to kind of correct and make that look a little more uniform, but that's my silly eye. That's not something that's going to be noticed. So that's a big time waster. So there we go, let's cure it. And I battle with putting down way too much polish and making it look kind of blobby. So that's one thing to watch out for. If you're unsure, you can always go in lightly and then take another pass at it after your cure in case you want to bolden up that color line a little, which is something that I kind of need to get used to doing instead of going in all hot and bothered and having it look too blobby. Look at that, hey. So pretty. It's hard to imagine that's a baby blue there. Like, this is such a soft and pretty purple. And it does still stay kind of light with this particular color I've chosen, but it still lends it that hazy, that like pale, hazy, dusty kind of fall color, even though it's still on the lighter side. Got some lighting shifts going on here as the sun is going down. That time change now, it's kind of like messed with my filming schedule and lighting. And so now that my first layer of syrup is done on everything, I'm just going to go around with another pass and create a little bit more definition for a kind of thicker boundary on the edge. More of that syrup color and blocking out a little more of that glitter on the edge, just to give a stronger effect. Again, not something that necessarily has to be done, but I like the look better. And I just make sure not to go as far up as my previous layer and blend it into that previous layer, as opposed to blending it into the glitter more in the center. This one here is already pretty dark, mostly because the syrup gel, this one's from the Winery collection, and this one did have a much kind of bolder look to it than the others. The others are much more muted color-wise, but I didn't have anything kind of blue matching in the maple collection that would have looked as good as this. So, and then of course, don't worry about ridges. We're going to fill this in with either a builder gel or just a thicker top coat and kind of level it so we don't have that bumpy ridge from the outer layer. So keeping your focus right on the outer edge to kind of block out the glitter look, just to give that effect. It's not going to all disappear under syrup. I mean, if you're using a cream color, it would disappear that a lot better, but it might also be a little bit trickier to blend inside for your aura, and it might not kind of give you quite as smooth of a look as it does here with the jelly over the sparkle over the glitter. And that's really a cool look. Makes that aura super simple because the blend's pretty much being done for you with the translucency of the polish. So our color layers are all done. Now I'm just going to go in with a really thick top coat. This is my YOGO Zombie Top Gel. I find this one to be a rather thick viscosity, so it's going to help me to level this out. And I think what I'll end up doing is maybe giving it a finish file, just light, and then going over with a thin layer top coat, just to buff it back up, or just to shine it back up. Now, depending on how good you are at putting down your coat, you may be able to leave it at this point and you're all set and done. But in my case, I'm not that great at keeping my stuff level, so I will go in with a file. This is a 240, and I just want to not remove a ton of product, but just smooth it out nicely. So I will clean these up nice and even them out, and then go in with a nice thin top coat and finish them off. I've got them filed all nice and smooth and even. Gonna go in with my much thinner viscosity MAYO Glass Top Gel and gloss these up beautifully. Look at that sparkle and shine. Fall, dark fall vibe. I absolutely love how these turned out. And it was so much fun taking such a delicate pastel palette and using it to create this incredible deep fall look. That flash reflective glitter is just so pretty. Check out my full swatching video if you'd like to see them up close. And if you enjoyed this creative twist, go check out one of my other videos here, as I'm always trying to experiment and do something different. Make sure to leave any questions that you might have down in the comments. And as always, of course, until next time, don't forget to love your nails. Bye!